we have a thyroid issue and we fix it correctly, will that help repair or heal elevated liver enzymes? Possibly. It depends on what's causing the thyroid issue and what's causing the liver issue. And oftentimes, gluten can cause both, right? Gluten can cause damage to the thyroid. Gluten can also cause damage to the liver. Interestingly enough as well, one of the functions of your liver is very important, actually. Your liver, T4 comes to your liver, and your liver helps convert T4 to T3. T3 is the active thyroid hormone. This is inactive. And so if your liver's damaged, then you can get a reduction in the efficiency of active thyroid hormone production. So again, just one other reason why that liver is so important and why there's a relationship there. Let's see here. Yeah, so choline, glutathione, selenium, milk thistle for liver health. Yes, all those are supplementals that can be very, very effective for aiding liver function. So choline is oftentimes referred to, well, in a nutshell, what choline does is it helps the liver deal with fat. So choline helps with fat. Glutathione is important for detoxification. Selenium is important for the regeneration of glutathione. It's also an antioxidant and helps with protecting with inflammatory issues. And then like milk thistle, very well known, very well studied remedy for repairing liver damage. So it helps to repair liver damage. It can work very, very well in folks that have hepatitis or other forms of inflammatory liver issues. So yeah, those are all great things that can be taken. There are many nutrients that are important for the health of the liver. Inositol is important for the health of the liver. Certain B vitamins, particularly vitamin B12 and vitamin B5, are helpful for the liver as well. So a lot of nutrients play a role. One of the other functions, since we're talking about nutrients, the liver is a storage unit for many of the vitamins. It actually stores a number of the different nutrients and basically think of it as a rainy day reserve fund. Your liver helps store a number of different nutrients. For example, your liver can store B12 to help take you through 12 months of a deficient diet. And so very, very important storage facility. And so again, if it's not working, that's where a lot of problems will come in. Let's see. So please describe the connection between fatty liver, blood test results, and early diabetes. Well, I mean, fatty liver, remember, fatty liver is a damaged liver. Diabetes is the inability to properly regulate and metabolize glucose and other sugars. And so that elevation in the blood starts to happen. When your blood sugar is elevated, it's going to stress out your liver. It's going to put more pressure on your liver. Your liver is one of the organs that has to deal with that excessive glucose, but also excessive glucose can damage the liver. Just like in diabetes, excessive glucose can damage a lot of tissues. So if you've got both, you better get dialed in on this diet rather quickly, or you're gonna have a heap of trouble. Let's see here. Does B6 deficiency cause fatty liver? I've not seen B6 deficiency by itself ever cause fatty liver. As far as leucine and isoleucine supplementation, look, isoleucine and leucine are just branch chain amino acids. They're not necessarily going to damage the liver unless, you're just taking mega doses. B6 in high enough quantities can become a problem, but what does that mean, high enough quantities? Most people would have to take, 10 times the level that's in a common multivitamin to even approach toxicity. And that's true of isoleucine and leucine as well. Can stress cause elevated liver enzymes? Stress definitely can damage and affect the way that the liver functions. Remember, stress directly can cause leaky gut, allowing a lot of those bacterial toxins to penetrate into the liver, and then the liver's got to deal with that. So stress being a factor causing leaky gut can definitely indirectly affect the liver. So the cause of elevated AST. So AST, what causes that? Predominantly what causes that is the liver being either damaged, as the liver cells damaged, liver cells release AST into the blood where we can then measure it. But other things can damage liver cells. Any poison, anything that is construed to be a poison by the liver can damage AST. I've seen cases where heavy metal burdens were damaging the liver. I've seen cases where a person was being exposed. In one case, a gentleman was being exposed to huge amounts of jet fuel. He was actually an a jet plane mechanic. And so he was being overexposed to a number of the different chemical compounds, and it was affecting his liver. I've seen mold damage the liver, mold toxicity, so somebody living in a moldy environment. There are a number of different things that can affect and impact the ALT and the AST. Which is worse, acetaminophen or ibuprofen? For the liver, acetaminophen is definitely worse, but that being said, ibuprofen is worse for the gut. Ibuprofen causes leaky gut, acetaminophen causes liver damage. They're both bad, and I would say, if you're taking it very rarely, on a very infrequent occasion, so, maybe you take it once or twice a year, I don't think that's what you need to worry about. But if you're using it to control your pain on a regular basis, they're both bad. Again, ibuprofen leads to leaky gut. Leaky gut increases the risk for the development of liver disease, and acetaminophen is a direct toxin to the liver. Steroid breathers, do they affect the liver? Yes, they do. All steroids affect and impact the liver. Wow, Robert says, I take 12 meds. Yeah, definitely a good idea to talk with your prescribing docs and get to the root of why you need that many. That to me, that's, well, I'm not going to give you my opinion because I don't know enough about you, Robert, but I would just encourage you to do that. So Tom and Lisa, I have a low platelet count due to cirrhosis. I have been on a grain-free diet and have experienced amazing results so far. How can I build up my platelet count? Stay the course. It's not about building up your platelet count. Your platelets come from your bone marrow. They're derivative of erythropoietic stem cells in your bone marrow. And so it's just a matter of when you're overcoming chronic liver cirrhosis, your body's malnourished because your liver, remember, it's a storage unit for nutrients, but it's also the master detoxification organ. And so all that was being hindered, for as long as it took for that cirrhosis to begin to develop. So sometimes it's just a matter of being patient and staying the course. Can taking too many supplements cause fatty liver? I like that question. It can. Defining what too many supplements are, though, because, for example, B vitamins don't tend to cause liver damage. High doses of vitamin C don't cause liver damage. Most of your traditional supplements aren't. Now, there's certain ones that definitely can. Kava is an example of a supplement that can impact the liver. High doses of certain herbals. I would say be less weary of vitamins creating liver damage and be more weary of different herbal preparations having the possibility to affect the liver. Let's see here. Scroll down the right. Lynn's asking, I often have mild nausea. Could it be because of my liver? Yeah, mild nausea can be a symptom of liver issues, so it's possible. Best way to know would be to get that checked out. Scroll down the left for me. So fruits impact on a liver. That's a great question. So fruit is high in fructose. And the liver doesn't do a great job. Remember I said earlier that too much fructose leads to leaky gut. Now that's not typically fruit, but some people overdo it. They don't eat a piece of watermelon, they eat the whole watermelon. They don't eat a handful of grapes, they eat all the grapes, right? And that fructose, once it causes leaky gut and then penetrates to your liver has to metabolize fructose. And what I see a lot is I see people that have a fructose metabolism issue. And they can't metabolize or break the fructose down very effectively, so then that fructose starts to damage the liver. And one of the things necessary to properly metabolize fructose, there's several nutrients, but one of the key ones is copper. And so copper deficiency will also oftentimes cause a fructose intolerance. And it's not an intolerance as in I can't digest the fructose, but it's an intolerance in the sense that you can't break the fructose down and convert it into energy, so your body has to do something else with it. And that typically is to try to convert it into fat and store it in the liver and create, contribute to fatty liver. So fructose from fruit can be problematic, but generally not in healthy servings. Or not in people who aren't already predisposed to damage from, pre-existing mega carbohydrate diet. I have PCOS, or not PCOS, polycystic liver disease in the right hepatic lobe with the largest simple cyst, 12 by 9 centimeters. How can I combat this naturally? Everything we talked about tonight. Change your diet, change your life. It doesn't matter whether you've got a cyst or whether you've got an inflammation or whether you've got fatty infiltration. All of those things, your best defense against them and your best offense to help them recover is to give your body what it needs to heal and repair. And so, real food has got to be top on the priority. So if you follow those guidelines I laid out earlier, you should be well on the right track. But beyond that, I'd say get with somebody and work with a professional who knows how to navigate these waters and help guide you. Do I have to be careful with my liver after removal of gallbladder? Generally speaking, people who've had their gallbladder removed, it's because their liver's damaged. It's because there was a problem with their liver's ability to properly produce bile, whether it was a vitamin C deficiency, taurine deficiency. These are quite common in people that make gallstones that form sludgy bile in the liver. And then the doctors want to pull out the gallbladder and say that the problem is fixed. So I would say, yeah, you want to be careful with your liver if you've had your gallbladder out, predominantly not because your gallbladder's out, but because your liver's probably damaged and that's why they had to take your gallbladder out. Let's see here, the citric acid, an ingredient we should avoid, heard it is black mold. No, you're okay with citric acid, provided, I would suggest that any citric acid that you use is not derivative of corn. A lot of them are, not all of them, but many of them are. How does the gallbladder removal affect liver function? Well, I think I answered that earlier. Gallbladder removal reduces your capacity to excrete bile into your small intestine in a timed fashion with your meal. So this is where those of you that maybe have had a gallbladder removed, you might benefit by supplementally supporting your digestion. Remember, the bile comes from your gallbladder, which sits inside your liver, right? And that is moved into your small intestine. And it's done so under the messaging of a hormone. So there are one particular hormone called cholecystokinin is released, and that hormone causes this trigger cascade to occur where the bile is released by your gallbladder into your small intestine as food. So if this is your gut, okay, we look at what's called the bile duct here. So again, this is a bad drawing, but the bile duct releases bile into the small intestine. So bile comes in here, mixes with the food, and it starts to emulsify the fat. So one of the things you can do is if you don't have a gallbladder, so this is being impacted, is you can use a bile supplement. And you can time it before you eat, so that you have some bile getting down to this area, so that when that food gets there, you have some bile to help you process and support the digestion of fats along with that food. I have a formulation called Lipogest, which has ox bile and other things that help support your liver's production, your proper production of bile in the absence of a gallbladder. So it's designed really for people that don't have gallbladders, who are looking to support their digestion and detoxification, again, because that mechanism is not running full capacity. Do castor oil packs, can they help to detoxify the liver? So yes, they can, Tracy, but remember the number one rule of detoxification is to not retox. And the biggest mistake people make with things like castor oil packs or milk thistle or glutathione is they fail to ever discover or identify what's creating the toxicity in the first place. Number one rule, don't keep retoxing your body. Find out what's creating the toxicity, remove it completely before you make any attempt at a detox. Let's see, some of these questions I think I answered by default. I like that. Linda says, I'm having so many aha moments getting depressed. Don't get depressed. If you're having aha moments, it's by design. Anyone watching this show should have aha moments because you're not going to get this information really anywhere else. And unfortunately, most of you aren't going to get it from your doctor because they just don't spend the time to talk to you about these things. And many of them, they don't know enough about nutrition to have the conversation with you. But the aha moment is your cue to take action, right? So that's aha, take action, not aha, get depressed, but aha, take action. What about tequila concerning glyphosate? Yeah, I mean, any alcohol, any grain-based alcohol, any spirit alcohol has the potential for glyphosate if that alcohol was made from plants that were sprayed with glyphosate. So this is why it's so important. If you're going to drink any alcohol at all, definitely you want to look for organic. And the industry is responding to this. We're seeing a lot more and more organic distilled spirits becoming available on the market. I would just say, look, I'm not a big fan of drinking. I don't really recommend that you drink on a regular basis, but I understand I'm also a human and people are going to get together and they're going to have a drink sometimes. When you do that, get organic. Don't double poison yourself. It doesn't make sense to do that. Let's see, keep going down on the left. Gallbladder full of stones. Not hungry, I eat twice a day, but I've gained weight. And even when I eat clean and exercise, I can't lose weight. Lourdes, I would say if you've got gallstones, you really need to work with a professional because there's a lot behind that. I don't want to just give you a couple of things to do. I mean, some people do a gall flush. Some people take a number of different support supplements to better liquidify the bile. What happens with gallstones is the bile actually crystallizes, that precipitates and crystallizes. And there are certain reasons why that can happen. And you need to get with somebody to test you properly so that you know why that's happening. Because no amount of supplements or do it yourself at home kind of is gonna help you understand the reason as to why. Is organic stevia sweetener any good for the liver? Well, none that's necessarily good for the liver. I don't think it's necessarily bad for the liver. Some people don't do well with stevia because it has inulin or it's derived from inulin, so the fiber in it, they have a hard time processing, especially if they have a problem with FODMAPs. FODMAPs are particular types of carbohydrate substances that can be hard for some people to digest. Let's see, keep going. Can I have celiac without having the gene? Yeah, I mean, 99% of all celiacs have HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8, but 1% don't. So, I mean, yes, you can have celiac without having the predisposition genes. Generally speaking, in my experience anyway, people that have ever had a diagnosis of celiac they don't have the 2 or the 8, they will have the DQ1 or the DQ3. Can gallbladder removal cause or contribute to fatty liver? No, generally speaking, if you had your gallbladder removed, it's because your liver's, like I said, your liver's already drowning. So it's not so much the gallbladder causing the problem as the problem already existed. The gallbladder was just the way your body was manifesting symptomatically. Somebody's asking about artichoke and asparagus, if you're gluten sensitive, if those are okay. Yeah, you never heard me say that artichoke and asparagus were not okay as a result of being gluten sensitive. There's no association between gluten and artichokes or asparagus. Let's see, keep going down. I work with recycled oils. I wear gloves, but if I use charcoal to detox toxins, metals from the body, will this be enough to protect me from toxins? I mean, if you're using gloves to protect yourself from it, basically penetrating into your body, you're probably okay. I mean, you can use charcoal as well. Charcoal is a great binding agent in the gut that can help with detoxification. You could take supplements like NAC and vitamin C to give your liver extra support because you do work around that type of thing. Those are all acceptable things you can do. Let's keep going down on the left, on the right as well. Can you talk about fats in the diet? Specific, I mean, what do you mean? I can talk about fats all day long, but specifically, what would you like me to talk about? Does gluten sensitivity or celiac cause melasma? I've seen it cause melasma, and I've seen melasma go away as a result of a gluten-free diet. That being said, I don't think all cases of melasma are directly caused by celiac. Can carnivore be effective for fatty liver? It can be. Carnivore can be. I've seen it do really good things. I've seen keto diets do really good things for fatty liver, and I've seen grain-free, gluten-free diets do really well. I think, in my experience, I think that the underlying element there between keto, carnivore, and gluten-free is they're low carb and they're no grain diets, and so those again are two big issues that the liver has to deal with. What type of herbals can damage the liver? Gosh, the list is pretty long. Lang, I would just suggest if there's a particular one that you want to know about, do a cross-reference search. If you're using a particular herbal, you can ask. There are a number of nutritional almanacs you can access online, and there are a number of different herbal guides you can access online that can tell you how a drug or how an herb is metabolized, whether it's metabolized by the liver, which system in the liver it is metabolized by, and get more detailed information about that. But there's so many different herbs. There are a number of them that can damage the liver, and so again, that's just kind of a loaded, long question. Let's see, go back up just a little bit. So Gina says, I have in it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, low vitamin D, gallbladder removed, food sensitivities, including fructose intolerance. Please tell me how I can consult with you. Just call my office. You can call my office, Gina, 281-240-2229, and just talk with one of my team, and they can set you up with a nutritional consultation. Let's keep going down on the left there. Not been able to gain weight. Any advice on things to add to my diet? Lots of things. I mean, if you're not gaining weight, though, the number one question is why. And so it's not an issue always about adding more calories. Sometimes it's an issue that what you're eating is actually poisoning you slowly, so it's causing an impossibility at weight gain. It's also possible you're eating foods that are inflaming you, and that cortisol elevation that's subsequent to that inflammation is eating and deteriorating your muscle mass, and that's leading to weight gain and inability to put weight on. So it's kind of more one of those. There's not a specific thing you can do outside of, if you're just being generic, count your calories and make sure you're getting enough caloric intake overall. But if you're already doing that and you're still not able to gain weight, then there's probably an underlying metabolic issue that's not being dealt with. Good numbers for ALT, AST. ALT, AST under 40 are good numbers. For bilirubin, preferably under 1.4, generally speaking, but even a little bit lower, 1.2 or less might even be better. How can I share this to watch it later? Come sign up for our newsletter. Kathy, go to glutenfreesociety.org and sign up for our free newsletter, and you'll get emails. We always send out the replay after the show is live every Monday night. So the only way you get that link to the replay, though, is if you're on my newsletter. Can my liver function normally after almost dying from blood pressure being too low for being septic? Yeah, I mean, the liver's a fast healer. That's the great news. So any of you that are like, depressed about your liver and loss of function, liver's one of the quickest healers in the world. And that's good news, because if you take away what's doing the damage, it has the capacity to repair itself. Best way to boost glutathione for liver function, if you're talking about oral supplementation, a lot of things. Selenium, NAC, N-acetylcysteine, vitamin B2 helps to regenerate glutathione. Selenium helps to regenerate glutathione. So you can also take a mixture of amino acids. Remember, glutathione is a tripeptide. It's made out of 3 amino acids, and so making sure you're getting those amino acids. Cysteine is one of those, which is why NAC works so well. Okay, man, we got so many questions in the feed. My mom had her gallbladder taken out. She can't go anywhere because she goes to the bathroom a lot. What can she do to be able to do more outside of her house? Look, this is what I was saying earlier, Laura. If somebody's had their gallbladder out, their inability to travel or function is not because their gallbladder's out. It's because there's a much deeper rooted problem that's damaged the GI tract and the accessory organs of the GI tract, like the liver and the gallbladder. So finding that out is the most important. Most of the people that I've seen that have had gallbladder surgery that can't go out and do things because they're scared about what their bowels are going to do or not do, in other words, their bowels are not predictable, it's because what they're eating is damaging their liver, it's damaging their intestines. And so determining that becomes one of the top priorities. Okay, keep going down on that left side. Is glutamate the same as glutamine for glutathione? No, glutamate, you don't want to take glutamate. Glutamate would be like MSG, monosodium glutamate, which is a stimulant and very, very bad for you. Glutamine is an amino acid, a conditionally essential amino acid that can be very helpful in healing and repair, and again, the production of glutathione. I can only sleep on my left side, having trouble on that side. Don't know if it's hiatal hernia or liver. Sometimes it makes me lose my breath. Yeah, go get it checked out, Janie. That's the best thing that you can do, get it checked out. It could be both. There's an old adage, not to depress you further, but everybody's entitled to more than one problem. And I've seen cases where people had the same symptom for multiple reasons, and you have to take care of those multiple problems to address the symptoms. Does non-alcoholic fatty liver cause antheloma? It can. It can cause, it's fatty deposition under the skin. It definitely can do that. I've seen fatty liver disease cause definitely fatty deposits in the skin, fatty deposits on the eye, fatty deposits around the eyelid. These look like little yellow raised plaques around the eye. Those are very common in fatty liver disease. Okay, I'm gonna go home and eat dinner. It was great hanging out with you guys tonight. Thanks so much for joining me on Pick Dr. Osborne's Brain. Look, if you're new to the show and you like what you hear and you want more, come visit us at glutenfreesociety.org. Like I said earlier, sign up for our newsletter. We'll send you all kinds of free information about how to get educated about diet, lifestyle, nutrition, and recovering from chronic autoimmune problems. So that's free to you. It's a free service we have, just like our Monday night show. I'm also going to ask that you help me. Our goal here is to reach 100 million people, and the only way we're going to reach 100 million is if you're sharing this information with your friends, family, loved ones who also need help. So don't be stingy and hit the share button, hit the like button, and let's get this information disseminated to the masses so that we can help change and save lives in the future. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday for another episode of PDOB. Take care. Hey, if you've got a functional medicine or health question that you'd like me to answer for you, make sure you send me an email, glutenology@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to create a video answer just for you. Have a great day.